How's it going, guys? Back again. This is Beneath the Surface. I'm your host, Nick the Red, and with me from now on is Space Bunny. Right?
Hi
I got that
guys.
right.
Yeah, you got that right. Yeah.
I think an upgrade, an improvement. Better than the last co host I had, who's completely ignoring me right now. Anyway, we're here at Deep Dive Games. This is a nerdy ass podcast where two of us get on here and just talk nerd stuff for an hour and a half. I think this week we were talking about maybe touching on the Final Fantasy spoilers. Not a really big Magic guy anymore, but I am a huge Final Fantasy nerd. So apparently there's a whole set coming out soon. But other than that, we'll just do our normal BS talking. You seem so excited to be here. Thank you.
I really am. I really
Right in
am.
front of the camera like that. That was Trent, our buddy, our pal, our friend. He went and got me ice because my drink is hot.
Well, we just got all of our drinks in for the store, so all the drinks are warm right now.
Yeah, that's why I need ice. 'Cause I
We
can't
happen to
drink
have a couple
hot.
of extra too late. It's okay.
Have some of it if you
It's
want.
fine. No, I can drink it's slightly cold coffee, you guys. Coffee's meant to be warm anyway. It's fine.
That is true, although I am kind of a basic guy.
Well, you like your coffee sweet?
Oh man, I love sweet coffee.
So you're the half creamer, half coffee type?
Oh, I go straight creamer.
Oh my goodness.
No. I usually just get like the frozen coffees from Dunkin', or if I'm feeling fancy, I'll go to Starbucks. Even though the Starbucks in town is always packed.
Like, one of my life hacks is going to Sonic for iced coffee because their iced coffee is actually really good and sweet.
See, I've never been to Sonic for iced coffee. I've always gone for like their frozen drinks.
You should try it. Their iced coffee is really good. Anyway, any of you guys into Magic? If there's anybody in the live
I
chat?
have no idea because again, I don't know where the viewers are here. There's supposed to be a widget or something on here that allows you to see like all the viewers you have. 9 times out of 10, we just go on our phones, which is what I'm doing right now.
I guess I could have done the same thing. Oh goodness gracious.
Oh no, I'm not gonna. I don't wanna hear myself.
Reverb. Oh, it'll also create a crazy reverb.
Yeah, not
Oh,
gonna happen.
any spooners would remember how that works.
Oh look, I have ads because apparently I didn't subscribe.
Anyway, if there's anybody in the chat or anybody watching, please say hi.
So far, I saw 2 viewers before I went to a commercial. So, hi, our 2 viewers. It's probably one of them's me. Well, anyway.
What are the Final Fantasy spoilers?
So, I was going to pull those up real quick.
Because
I was
I am
looking
not
at 'em
very.
earlier.
See, it's funny. I like Magic, but I'm not very versed in Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
My son and I have actually got this whole thing going on where we're building decks together. He's working on a dinosaur deck right now. It's kind of fun
Do you
getting
like
the young ones
dinosaurs?
into it. Oh yes, of course.
I mean, dinosaurs is a strong tribe right now. After Ixalan, the newest Ixalan set came out, like there was a lot.
The Lost Caverns.
Yeah, the Lost Caverns. A lot of dino support, and then you had like the Jurassic Park cards that came out in there too. So that was a lot of.
Yeah,
Man,
we've
it is
been.
actually hot in here.
Yeah, actually, I dressed for the heat this time.
Mm.
Although supposedly somebody was in to check that earlier today. So
I mean, here's hoping because the store is incredibly hot
yeah, we don't have
all
any,
the time.
We don't have any AC right now. That's why.
I mean, we have one, and that's the problem. Is that this space is supposed to have like 3, and it's only got 1, and that poor AC is like struggling to keep up.
But
yeah.
hopefully it'll be fixed here soon. And then you'll see
Uh,
me in a sweater all the time because I'll be cold all the time.
I mean, well, that's fair. You're tiny. So, Final Fantasy spoilers. All right, what was your favorite Final Fantasy?
I didn't really play.
You didn't
Fantasy.
play Final Fantasy.
Wasn't in that
I'm
fandom.
gonna have to revoke
Sorry.
your nerd card, really?
I can talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender. The set. Well, I can talk about that set all day long.
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm sure.
I'm sure most people know that that's coming out at the end of the year. So.
Oh, we have
for
some action on the chat. Hang on, let me pull you up real quick. Spoon Mom from Tipner. I'm assuming you know who this is.
Yes. Hey, Tipner, how are you doing today?
Well, just looking at the The spoil so far, I've looked at a couple of spoilers. I think some of the mechanics are pretty interesting. We've had enchantment creatures before, but now we're getting saga creatures, and it's like all of the summons from the Final Fantasy games. So I thought that was pretty neat. You get some of your favorites like Knights of the Round from Final Fantasy VII. That's a really powerful one.
What's your favorite Final Fantasy? You know, you asked me, but you
I did.
actually-
I fielded that question towards you, but honestly, I started on 7, and then I found out that they were not sequels of each other. So my uncle actually had the original first 2 on the NES, and so I went back and I played those, and they are nightmares to play. Like they're good games. They're definitely good games for the times, but I had to go back and get like the remastered versions that came out on the PlayStation afterwards. I'd have to say, gameplay wise, I probably enjoyed. Um, I know it's probably sacrilegious, but I actually enjoyed 10's gameplay. Story wise, I liked 9. 9 was probably one of my favorite story wise. Um, 7, you like the one that you started with. 7 was always great. I loved the characters. I loved the magic system in there. I thought was really neat. And then as much as people hated it, 8. I didn't think 8 was as bad as everybody thought it was. I really did. Like, sure, there were some stupid things in it. Triple Triad, for example. Stupid little like mini game card game that you could play in the game. It was so dumb. But you had to do it to get certain cards because you can turn cards into materials that you needed for the ultimate weapons of everybody in the game. So it was. I'm
See, I guess they
ADHD
knew back
yammering right
then.
now.
I feel like they knew back then it was supposed to be a card game.
Yeah, there actually is a triple triad card game in
Really?
here. It's a card. It's an enchantment, and it's so dumb. See if I can find it.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. All right. Okay, it's not up there, so it's got to be down more. It's a red enchantment. There you go. Triple triad. It's a 6 cost enchantment. 3 colorless, 3 red. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player exiles the top card of their library. Until the end of turn, you may play the card you own in exile this way, and each other exiled card this way with lesser mana value than without paying their mana cost. So basically, you exile the top card of your deck, and every other player does the same. And then until the end of turn, you can play the card you own in exile, and each other card that has a lesser mana value than your card. So basically, say mine has 5. Mine's a mana cost of 5. I can play 4 and less for free from anybody else's exiles. Otherwise, it's just those cards just stay exiled. So it does nothing. It does nothing for the actual like triple triad game. But I mean, I guess it's an okay card, but at 6 mana, I don't think I'd play it. We have some
So
more
it's almost as
chats.
useless as it was in the game.
Hey, you're good. We have customers in the store in and out the whole time we're recording this, so don't even worry about late responses. But we appreciate you being in the chat.
Have you ever played Final Fantasy, or do you have a favorite Final Fantasy? Or have you ever played Magic?
Yeah, don't let me do all the talking here on this one. Like seriously, because I highly doubt people come here to talk to me. They probably here just to talk to you.
Oh, they love hearing from you.
We got Black Jackal Gaming has followed. Hey, thanks for the follow. I will say one of the cards that I did see spoiled that I thought was actually going to be pretty gross is the Darkness Crystal. And hopefully when this goes to recording on YouTube, we can get our editor to pop up actual images of these cards when we're talking about them. But the Darkness Crystal is a 4-drop legendary artifact. It's double black and 2 black spells you cast 1 less to cost. My brain just like completely flipped on me on that one. Black spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. I don't know what is wrong with me right now. I didn't take my meds this morning, and it's starting to show.
Oh no.
If a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, exile it, and you gain 2 life. So it's the same cost as Leyline of the Void, which does pretty much the same thing, and also nets you life. And then, if that wasn't enough, it also, for 6 mana, 4 and 2 black, and then you can tap it, put target creature card exiled with the Darkness Crystal onto the battlefield tapped under your control with 2 additional 1/1 counters on it. So now, not only are you exiling their stuff, you can also steal it.
That's nice.
That's so busted.
I love stealing people's stuff in card games.
Oh yeah,
It's my
no, it's
favorite
great.
thing.
A buddy of mine actually built a commander deck. It was a mono blue commander deck, and I'm pretty sure his commander was Sakashima the Thousand Faces, which is like a super clone. Basically, when it enters, it is a copy of a creature on the field, but retains its own name. So you can have it and the other creature. And then the entire, so it's a mono blue deck, and the entire rest of the deck was either clones to copy your stuff, or it was steal cards like Confiscate and Commandeer and all that jazz. Just, he would take your own deck and play it against you. I hated it so much.
That's like my favorite thing though in card games. I love and hate it. I love being on the I love being the one doing it. I hate being on the receiving end of it.
Yeah, 100%. So one neat little thing that they're doing with this one though, it kind of like leans into the theme. Oh, sorry, yeah, move my junk out of the way. It kind of leans into the theme of this character is Sid. So there are 15 different versions of Sid in the card set.
Oh wow!
But they're the same card. It's just different pictures.
Different artwork?
Because there is a Sid in every single Final Fantasy. In some way. There is always a Sid in Final Fantasy. So like the Sid from Final Fantasy VII, the Sid from Final Fantasy VIII. I don't know what half of these are, honestly, because I didn't play really that many of them. But
did you ever play the earlier ones, or did you only play up till 7?
Well, like I said, so they after a little while, when 7 was like super popular, they started coming out with like the side games. So like Final Fantasy Tactics came out, and that was a lot of fun. But around the same time, they started re-releasing older Final Fantasies on the PlayStation. They did Origins, which was 1 and 2 on the same disc and had a bunch of like bonus features. And then they did Chronicles, which was, I want to say it was 3 and 4. And there was a third one. I think it was like Legends or Legacy, one of the two. And it was like 5 or something like that. Because
Just
it was
like
also
remastered?
paired. Yeah, they basically went back and like remastered the older games and then put them on the discs. It wasn't so much that they like completely overhauled the game. They basically took the original games and just fit them on the disc with like a bunch of like bonus feature stuff. They did some coding fixes because some of the older games had like bugs and things like that in it, so they went back and like kind of fixed them. I know there was like a bug or something in one of the first games where one of the spells just didn't work. It didn't do anything. It was meant to do something and just didn't do anything.
That's a coding failure. Right
Yeah,
there.
that was just like a coding failure. So they went back and kind of fixed some of those. But yeah, so I did play the older ones. I never really played them all the way through to completion. I think only a handful of them I did. 6 was really good. I actually got 6 on the Super Nintendo because that one was one that came out on the Super Nintendo as Final Fantasy 3. Oh no.
Oh, I still have my Super Nintendo.
I know.
I
I'm so jealous.
Like, why didn't you
I'm
keep
so
that?
jealous that you still have your Super Nintendo.
Oh, I keep everything. I have the original Super Nintendo, the original Xbox, like the very first Xbox, just the Xbox, and then the Xbox 360, the Xbox 360 Connect, all of Nintendo all the way back to
So
the
my
Super Nintendo?
my original Nintendo just completely kaputted. Like it just died. So we ended up just getting rid of it. And then I was going through my parents' house the other day, and I actually found my original Super Nintendo, but I didn't have any of the cords to hook it up.
They're not that hard.
They're
to
not
find,
that hard to
actually.
get, but like I had no games, no controllers. I just had the console. And then when I'm like looking at it, it's still in like this wrapped in that styrofoam that it came in the original box, and I'm just like sitting there like, I really could just go back and get this console or the parts for this console to make it work again. But I'm like, that's a lot of effort. I can just emulate these games on my phone nowadays because of just how
It's not
far
as
the technology has
nostalgic
gone.
though. It's not as nostalgic as holding the little like remotes that are corded to the game to the game.
All right, so just to get back to chat real quick because we've been chatting a bit, and I'm very bad. I apologize. I'm very distracted when it comes to like this when I get into a conversation. So I will go back and check chat. Just be patient with me, or her for that matter.
It's okay. I'll get him
So
used to
it
it.
says here, let's see. In response to what you asked Tipner earlier, says they don't play games as much these days. Too busy with motorcycle. Though the shop it's in right now for the next 2 to 4 weeks, and then our new follower commented about my ADHD squirrel.
Squirrel.
Yeah. So here, I'll just move this over so you can
Oh, yeah.
you can keep a better eye on it because I'm just gonna keep rambling.
Ooh, fancy comment. Oh yeah, my son is now 7, almost turning 8. His birthday will actually be here in the next couple weeks.
Jesus, you feel old yet?
Oh, I felt old for a minute now. I turned.
I feel old every day I get up.
You had a big birthday this year, but I do too. So.
Yes. Not last week did I hit the big 4-0. My child is 10 years old. She's about to be 11.
She's so sweet though.
She is. She's sweet, like diabetes syrup.
But it's hard to say no. She's getting to that age where no is going to be important.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell her no. 9 times out of 10, I'm just too lazy not to.
Just wait till you tell her no about a boy.
I am not looking forward to that or anything of that nature. So yeah,
Oh, somebody called you an old man.
fair. I am. I don't look it, but I'm thin and stretched like too little butter over too much bread.
I feel that though.
Uh, well, I was talking about Final Fantasy spoilers, but honestly, not really that interested in it. I mean, we could probably grab Tyler and have him come over here and just like ooh over like Final Fantasy 14 because he's a nerd.
I mean, some of the creatures are really cool. Like
Yeah. I do like that they actually did kind of grab some of the iconic character monsters,
Yeah.
like the Malboro. That one's just iconic Final Fantasy. This one is a 6-drop 4/4 double black. When this creature enters, each opponent discards a card, loses 2 life, and exiles the top 3 cards of their library and has swamp cycling. So if you don't have the resources to play it right away, you can pay 2 and pitch it, and just go get a swamp out of your deck and put it in your hand. So that's pretty good. I'm not too big fan of the art though, because I like the Marlboros in the game as they look like these little pet shop little pet shop of horrors.
really?
It looks like Audrey 2. Like normally they look like Audrey 2 with a bunch of like writhing tentacles and whatnot.
That sounds awesome.
This one just kind of looks a little weird.
Yeah. Maybe it looks like they tried too hard.
A little bit. Like
Little
they were
bit.
like trying just a little too hard on that one. I will say Flavor Win was definitely suplex. So it's a sorcery for 1 and a red. You choose one. Suplex deals 3 damage to target creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it. or exile target artifact. And the reason why it's so iconic is because there is literally a scene in Final Fantasy VI where you fight a phantom train that's chasing you down the tracks, and one of the characters, I think it's Bart's. One of the characters in the game is a monk. Basically, that's his job, and he punches, kicks, and whatnot. Um, you can actually use one of his finishing moves called suplex on the train,
Okay.
and so it's just this big like meme thing that's like you can suplex the phantom train.
I love that they made a card for that.
Right.
Because that's great. And
That's
he's
what I was
on
saying.
the train tracks.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it's
what I was
perfect.
saying. Because it's this scene. This is the scene where he does it, and then if you go back and actually look at the Phantom Train, if I can find the spoiler for it, the Phantom Train itself actually has the picture of the three characters running down the tracks away from the train. Where is it at? There it is, right there. See, you have the Phantom Train behind them, and they're running down.
Oh
the
my
tracks.
goodness, that's great. That's
Uh,
actually some really good artwork.
Yeah. Some of these are actually really good. Like I really like the Garland art because Garland was a great villain in the first Final Fantasy game.
It looks so cool.
And I think they did a really good job with a lot of these artists. I think a lot of these artists did a really good job.
Oh, the chat's just having conversations. Honestly, this comment is hilarious up here. My check knees light came on at 30.
My check engine light's been freaking red for the last 10 years.
My knees are creaky, like an old door, like an old glass door. You know, like the ones like up in the mountains, out in the woods, where you go to somebody's house in the middle of nowhere, and they've got two doors, and that one random door that is really for nothing other than letting sunlight in,
Mm.
and it creaks every time you pull it open. Yeah, those are my knees.
I can't walk more than like 100 feet without my knees starting to like build pressure behind them, and I have to like pop them. So like I'll just be walking, and just be like, oh god, and then have to like kick my leg to pop my knee to release that pressure.
I feel like I've had to do that most of my life though, but for me it's more of like a tightness. Like it all tightens up, like it's cramped.
Mm.
Trying to get it to like
Oh,
not
speaking
do
of
that.
cramps, I am finally at that age where I'll just get random cramps in the middle of the night. It'll wake me up. It'll be like 2 o'clock in the morning. My leg just starts, and I roll out of bed and crawl, begging the gods above to let me live.
I've had restless leg syndrome my whole life, so that's like those growing pains you feel when you're a kid. Basically, they just never stop.
Yeah, it's never stop.
So like in the middle of the night, my legs will randomly feel like somebody's
Screw that mess. I just need
trying
somebody
to
to
like break
invent
them from
a
the
way
inside.
to just give a tune-up, just a
Yeah,
whole
like a
full body
full body
tune-up.
tune-up. We'll see.
Change
We'll
the
see
belts
what science.
grease the bearings. I have been told that I do need to touch on Vivi. Vivi was
That
actually
has been talked about all week by
All
customers,
week.
by the way. There are people that just specifically want that card.
I want that card. I want an alternate art of that card, like a full art, alternate art, or something like that of that card. Because Vivi was my number one favorite character. Like out of all the Final Fantasies, and they all have like really great characters in it, Vivi was probably my favorite, hands down. And he's considered one of the most powerful characters in Final Fantasy 2. But that's not really why I liked him. I just liked him. Like I've liked him from the beginning. He actually came from 9. Remember, I was saying Final Fantasy 9, in my opinion, has probably the best story. There he is. Vivi! So,
Oh my goodness, it's actually a really cute card.
he is so adorable.
It's so cute.
You know, I have a playmat. The playmat that I let you
Yeah,
borrow
that
first
I was
time
about
we
to
played.
say. It looks
Yeah,
so familiar.
That's the character. But yeah, he is a legendary creature wizard. He has no like species type. It's just he just has a job, and there's a reason for that because in the game, spoilers for like a 30-year-old game now. Um, he's a doll. He's not like a real person.
Really.
He's a created being. And so the bad guys in the story actually create these soulless dolls, and fill them with like the mana and the magic and whatnot. So they're black mages.
That's so cool. It kind of
And
reminds me of the Soot Sprites.
He's one of the few. Oh, we got a few.
Also, I hope you have a good rest of your day at work, Tipner. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for the follow, Jesse. We appreciate it.
I can't see how many people are in the chat, so if you're in the chat, please like throw a wave, say hi.
Yeah, for some reason my
Tell
image
us your
just froze.
favorite game. We're talking about Magic and Final Fantasy.
We have currently got 4 people viewing.
Which 2 of them is you and him. So.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, no. So
that has my phone, so I can't.
So the reason why he doesn't have like a creature, like a species type, I know that's not really a thing in Magic, but basically it's like human wizard or Vidalcan wizard or something like that. No, he's just a straight wizard, and that's because he's not like a real person. But he was a defect, and he was rejected from the Black Mage army because he was defective, and so the characters find him and befriend him because he has a personality, whereas all the other Black Mages don't really have a personality. They're not given one, and so they just blindly follow orders. And eventually, their programming, I guess, starts breaking down, and they start earning. They start getting like personalities and whatnot as the game progresses. But Vivi was like one of my favorite characters the whole time I was playing that game. Like the game is supposed to be focused on like Dagger and Zidane's story and all this other jet. No, Vivi was number 1. I never ran a party without Vivi in it.
Well, if you were going to build a Magic deck that was Final Fantasy, would Vivi be part of it?
I mean, honestly, his ability is kind of gross, what he can do. So probably, but I mean, I would just do it for the flavor win. I would find every card in the set that references Black Mages or puts Black Mages in, and I would just run it. And if I couldn't run specifically just Vivi as the commander for that deck, I would build like probably one of them that has like all 3 of the colors in there, because I think there are other cards that also make Black Mages, but they're like black and red. I'd probably get a Grixis commander, never cast the commander ever, and just play with all the Black Mage cards.
That would be hilarious. Vivi would be a cool...
I mean, his ability is really stupid. He'd
be a cool commander.
So for 0, so you can use it immediately. He's like a mana dork. You add X mana in any combination of blue and red, where X is his power, and you can only activate during your turn and only once each turn. So there are ways to copy that ability and then reactivate that ability. So you copy the ability, you get multiple copies of the ability, you just keep activating it over and over and over again. And it just goes completely infinite. And then he has the ability is whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you put a 1/1 counter on him, and he deals 1 damage to each opponent. So if you have a way to cast and recast non-creature spells, he can go infinite damage. So infinite mana, infinite damage, infinite power.
Man, you're getting a lot of calls right now. Hey, Jesse. Good to see you.
Yeah. I need to go ahead and step away for this one, so if you want to take over for me real quick.
I can try. Unless Tyler wants to come over here and nerd out about Final Fantasy Magic for us. Welcome in, Tyler. My amazing coworker who helped me keep it together this weekend and loves Final Fantasy.
Keep the chair warm. Okay, that's fine. What's up, gamers? Yeah, Final Fantasy. I play a lot of Final Fantasy.
If you want to see the spoilers, like what we were looking at.
Yeah. Yeah, Vivi was what we were talking about beforehand. Yeah, Vivi is going to be disgusting. They're already talking about vintage play for him, which, that's a really high bar to set for Magic. To be in the same format that, Black Lotus is legal in. I think that's a pretty big deal. Yeah, there's just a lot of combos that you can set up with this card. Commander as well. I mean, Commander's what everyone plays, it feels like. So
Yeah, I'm finally giving in to the Commander gameplay, and I'm trying to build some Commander decks finally.
yeah, I've been seeing you looking into it. Commander it's a fun format. It's not my all-time favorite at this point because I've just played it to death, but it is still a lot of fun. There's so much creativity involved. Yeah, I mean, I'm still big on Standard and Pioneer. I think are still like my go-tos, but
I just hate that so many cards can't be played in Standard. Like,
yeah, but I mean, it's supposed to stay fresh. You know, it's supposed to be the newest stuff. Which with the way Standard is now, it's over 2 years of Magic at a time, so you've still got a really big card pool. I remember it being, back in my day, 10 whole years ago when I started playing Magic, like really playing Magic. You only normally had like 4 to 5 sets at a time, which I guess was about a year and a half, but it was different because every time a new set came out, one would drop out. So it was always rotating, it felt like. But nowadays, it's a lot more consistent.
I do like that about Commander, is that like a lot of cards are actually legal in Commander, even
Yeah.
way back in the day.
The ban list is super small. An interesting card to talk about. Let's see if I can get it to.
Yeah,
Go
I've had
back.
so many people come in like this weekend while you weren't here asking for like if there's any way that they can for sure get a Vivi.
Yeah, the VV card.
Vivi.
Yeah, people have been hyped up about VV. Here's some of the super new stuff.
I'm like, I'm not sure. Everybody seems to want one, so good luck.
I know that like my girlfriend has been so excited. Final Fantasy 15 is like her all-time favorite Final Fantasy game. So having characters like Arden, getting a card. There's the Noctis card that I know before the podcast started. I had mentioned to Nick, which it looks like he's walking back over here now. The new Noctis card is just absolute insanity. Let's see if I can find it super quick.
I mean, we're slow, so if anything, I can pull up another chair.
That's true. I'm trying to keep an eye on. I'm keeping an eye on the counter
Yeah, I'll
though.
grab another.
You're good.
Yeah.
You wanted to skip out this week anyway because you don't.
Yeah, Nick's over here like, oh, Magic. I
Magic.
can't believe I have to talk about Magic.
It's got nothing to do with that,
But yeah, so a new Noctis card, just to read it for the viewers at home before we're up on video where we can get all the fancy editing done. New Noctis says a 1 in Esper. Oh yeah, we're just shuffling people.
We're just
around.
gonna shuffle people
We're
around
just
all
shuffling
day.
people,
Hi.
Because I'll probably jump up in a few minutes here because I have food on
That's
the way.
true.
but
I mean, so the classic dynamic duo.
the classic, we're back, better than ever. Not really.
Not really.
But yeah, so Noctis. I was just talking to you before
Yes,
you went live.
before we
about
went
this.
live, you were telling me like, oh, he can go infinite with a
The ham sandwich.
ham sandwich.
He really does. So like I said, 1 in Esper, so 1 a white, blue, and black for a 4/3 with lifelink, and you may cast spells from your graveyard by paying 3 life in addition to paying their other costs. If you cast a spell this way, that artifact enters with a finality counter on it. Which
So basically, if you have like $1.50, you can make an infinite combo with him.
not a granted. Mox Diamond's only 600
Only-
right now. 600.
No, it's not.
I'll pull it up on TCG Player right now.
Oh boy,
It's 600.
no fighting, guys.
Not the version I had.
Yeah, the version you had was like 900.
Yeah.
Yeah, but an OG 600. I looked it up the other day.
It's fair.
But
Still, like that is
yeah.
way too much money in my opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, but you can do a budget version of this combo. So the combo that we're talking about is you play Noctis, then you play an Aetherflux Reservoir, and then you cast Mox Diamond without sacrificing a land for its casting cost. So it goes straight to the graveyard.
Yeah. Doesn't
You-
even hit the field
Yes, you still gain a life off of
because you cast it.
because of Aetherflux. Then you pay 3 life to bring it back from the graveyard. You still don't sacrifice or discard a land for its ability, so it just goes straight back to the graveyard. But now you gain 2 life because Aetherflux is every time you cast, you gain a life for each artifact you've cast this turn. So by that third cast,
Spell.
is it spell?
Spell.
Colorless spell?
No, it's just spell.
Just spell? I thought
No,
it was-
Aetherflux is just spell.
Is it just spell?
Yeah, that's
It's
why
a
like
really good card.
Leshrac, Sigil, and Crick goes infinite.
That's right. You're so right, bestie.
I'm always right.
You're so right,
You should just
bestie.
know this about me.
What's your
Incorrect.
favorite Final Fantasy?
14.
14.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd
okay, if I
say-
can't pick the MMO, FF6. 6 is my favorite.
I mean, nobody says you can't pick the MMO, but it's kind of a,
Some might call it a cop-out answer.
I was gonna, your words, not mine.
Because it's an ever-expanding thing. But it would probably be 6 if I have to pick like a true mainline single-player
Oh,
Final
so you guys
Fantasy
both
game.
liked 6.
6 was great.
I mean, six was good. Six was one of the first times that we got away from like the job system.
Mm-hmm.
We got away from a lot of like the classic tropes and things like that. Because like 5 still had jobs, just each character had a unique job. And honestly, 6 had one of the more in-depth stories. I mean, Kefka
Yes.
is probably one of the most ultimate villains of the Final Fantasy series because he's psycho. He's a psychopath.
He's just like a
He
clown.
literally just wants to destroy the world for the
Yeah.
sake of destroying the world. He has no other purpose than to cause pain and suffering because he finds it funny.
Yeah, it's refreshing to have a villain, especially nowadays where it seems like every villain ever is just they always have to be like sympathetic,
Right,
or, like,
it's some
tragic.
sympathetic or tragic villain.
You know,
Kefka
he's
was
just
just
evil.
evil.
Like one of the early things he does in the game is he poisons Doma's water supply.
Yeah,
Just because he can.
just because he can.
And he's capturing all the espers to turn them into like mana, like power crystals.
Yeah.
He turns them into auracite. I think that's where that concept comes from. Also, FF6 has the really distinct thing about it where it has the most party members of any Final Fantasy game. You have 14 party members
Oh yeah.
by the end of the game.
I mean, not all at once, but you have
No,
a roster of
you have
like
a roster of 14
different characters,
which is a ton of people to pick from.
yeah,
You don't have to use Terra. You don't have to use any of the people you're introduced to at the start. You can have a totally different setup. By
yeah,
the
because
end of
there's
the
not
game.
really a main character in that game.
No. Terra
Like, there
is your
is-
closest.
Right. There is a main, like the story revolves around Terra, but you don't have to actually play with her.
No.
A lot of the Final Fantasies that came after that one, they had a core main character
Mhm.
that you had to have in every battle unless it was
Yeah.
scripted not to have them.
Yeah.
So like 7 was the next one in the line.
You had Cloud.
You had Cloud. Cloud Strife was literally the main character, and you played as Cloud, and then you just had side characters. And then the other one was Zidane from 9.
When you skipped 8
I
with
did.
Squall.
Yeah, Squall. Again, I said it before, I'll say it again. I don't think 8 was as bad as people wanted. That ending, though,
I love
took
Triple Triad.
15-minute ending.
I
Where
love
it's just a
Triple Triad.
cutscene for 15 minutes. You're just sitting there watching them repeat scenes over and over again. Well, because the end of the story, again, spoilers for like a 30-year-old game, the end of the game, literally, they're in a time loop.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
what
the
Ultimecia
ending,
does.
Ultimecia basically creates a time loop, and they get trapped inside the time loop. And so you spend 15 minutes watching them do the same
scene.
scenes over and over and over again until they finally realize they're in a time loop and somehow break it.
Yeah, I forget how they.
It was the
ultimately break
stupidest. It was the stupidest like thing. The power of friendship or some crap like that.
Oh my
No,
goodness
it was the love between Squall and,
Right, and
what's
Riona.
her. Yeah, and like they can't be together, but it's like their kids end up together
Something like that.
from like
Some sort of
it's
forbidden
weird. It's some whole thing
Like I said, it's the power of friendship.
effectively.
Effectively.
9 was cool. I like 9 only because it's the first game where Alexander gets a big front stage presence as a
true.
summon.
And then, dies.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just a castle. It's just a big castle. Alexander's like one of my favorite summons, though. Or primals, espers, whatever you want to call them. Zodiacs, if you play 12.
I think they were espers in that game.
Was it espers in 9? Well, no, because I know espers originates from 6.
Mm-hmm.
Because they already have like Esper Valyarmanda and all that.
Yeah.
If someone was going to like start playing, never played before, which one would you suggest is like the best way to get into Final Fantasy?
Honestly, the best way to just get into Final Fantasy just as a series? I would say like 7 is always a strong starting point. That's where a lot of people started.
That is where a lot of people started. I think if you want like classic Final Fantasy vibes, I gotta go with 9.
I was gonna say 6
I mean 6, yeah, but
because it's
6.
a true classic Final Fantasy.
I don't
And you
know.
get to
6
pick your
was
character too,
complicated.
instead of having like,
Yeah.
like you guys were
There's a
saying,
million
'cause that would make it, in my opinion, probably
know
more
what?
enjoyable for somebody
mean,
new, 'cause
OG
then they can choose.
OG Final Fantasy, you can beat in like 20 hours.
Yeah, OG is very short.
Actually, you could beat it faster than that because it was on the original NES and there wasn't really a save state in the US release. You basically just have to play it from beginning to end.
Because it's I think the only hard things you have to do in that game is I don't
We have
know.
an issue. Anyone else having an issue? What they're saying is looping every couple of seconds.
I have no idea.
I did see it glitching there a little while, like our video glitching, and then it flipped. See, there it did it again.
Oh, it keeps kind of clipping.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say is try restarting Twitch. I know when I'm watching it on like my phone, if I don't have a good connection, it'll hiccup like that. And to be fair, like our internet here is not the greatest.
Like a million dropped frames right now. Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of hitting peak, and then it like just jumps up.
Yeah, and then it fixes itself.
Hopefully that fixes it for you guys as
Is
well.
that connected? Oh, that's connected to the.
That's why it's connected
That's
over
why
there.
it's connected over there. You might need to switch over to that.
Swap
one.
over to the other one.
Give us a second. We're gonna swap over to the other internet, and we're back. Sorry about that, guys. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. Just hit us up in the chat. If you're not getting the stream anymore,
Yeah.
let us know. Appreciate it. But hey, we have a strong connection now, so maybe
like it.
we're not going to be glitching.
Yeah.
So what happens is we actually have 2 different internet sources. We have one for
No,
our
it just
streaming
got
room.
so much worse.
Jesus, but
I'm
that's the
walking
same
away.
numbers. Yeah, get out of here.
I'm walking
it's your,
away.
It's
It's my
you.
fault.
It's all you.
I'm
It's you're the
pausing.
bad luck. Here, take your bad luck chair with you.
My bad luck chair. Yeah. Just take the whole extension cord with you.
Don't do that.
Let's unplug everything.
Yeah, unplug everything. Just get out of here. They don't want to see you anyway. But yeah, no, we have 2 different sources for our internet. One for our streaming room where we record our D&D show.
Which, by the way, is on YouTube if you want to check that out.
Yep, we post it up on YouTube. We don't do it live. Probably a good thing.
Yeah. There would be a lot of footage too, like a lot.
Yes.
It would be hard for people to get to. I feel like if it were live.
Well, I mean, there'd probably be like comments and things like that, but it would basically just be the same thing as what like Critical Role does, where they just don't respond to the comments.
Yeah, I mean, there used to be like spoon streams too, and other live streams that I've been to that are D&D sessions, and they don't pay attention to the chat.
Yeah, fair. But yeah. So easiest Final Fantasy, in my opinion, to get into would either be 9. Because it does kind of give you that feel for like the job system without being a job system. In that one, like all of the level up stuff just comes straight from items that they equip, like weapons, and you can learn skills and like that from your weapons. 7 is a really easy one to get into because it was the first one that went over to the PlayStation instead of it being like Nintendo exclusive. Because like all the Final Fantasies that had been released on like Famicom and things like that, so like Nintendo. And it's not so complicated that you have to know like a whole bunch of lore, because that's the beauty about Final Fantasy, is that as a series, no game is really a traditional sequel until you get to the much later entries, and the much later entries actually have direct sequels. But everything else from 1 all the way till like 9, 10, all of them are just standalone games. You don't have to know anything about the lore. You don't have to know anything about the history of the franchise. You can literally just jump in wherever that you think it looks cool and play. And like I said, the further along you go in the line, the more complex, the more deep the story ends up becoming. I mean, fair, you know, when you hit 13 and it's just corridor walking simulator.
12 was also bad because it had the FF11 MMO style gameplay.
Yeah, there was a lot of issues. So if you guys can't hear him, Tyler's making comment off screen because he's over there stuffing his face now.
As always during the stream.
It's always during the stream. But yeah, I mean 12. I wasn't a huge fan of 12 personally. I wanted to get into it. My brother-in-law loved it. Like loved the hell. Like played it through when I had a copy of it and gave him my copy of the game because I just didn't get into it. Had some really good characters though. Don't ask me which ones they are because I don't know.
Alfier and Fran.
Yes, the fan favorite, the bunny girl and the furry lover. Anywho, no, yeah. So if you legitimately wanted to get into like playing Final Fantasy stuff, if you're going for the classics, 6 is probably your best bet to start with because it is the newest of the classic Final Fantasies. And then if you're trying to just get into like the newer age Final Fantasies, look at something like 14, 15. Like the MMO is a good way to kind of get into Final Fantasy. 15 is apparently good. I didn't get into that one. I had started getting off of the Final Fantasy train when 15 came out. Wasn't a big fan of the active combat system. I'm a very big traditionalist when it comes to like RPGs. I like the turn-based combat because it gives you a chance to strategize, to think, to build your characters up, that kind of thing. So for me, I'm not a fan of the active, but if you're more into the whole twitch reflexing, controlling one character and letting AI control your other party members, 12 on started having like a lot of the active battle where you can run around the battlefield and things like that. So
I don't know, I do like old RPGs, so is Final Fantasy like considered an RPG?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's one of the earliest ones. That and Dragon Quest, which were both made by Square.
I played Dragon Quest and
it depends.
Dragon's Age or Dragon's Age.
Dragon Age, yeah. Dragon Age is definitely an RPG.
Oh yeah, well, 100%. The first one's the graphics were so terrible.
But it's BioWare.
Yeah, it was
like
so much
early
fun,
BioWare is so good.
It was so much fun. Probably one of my favorite to play throughout my life. Like the era that I played that in was great.
I mean, I've always been a fan of RPG games, mainly because like I never really got into like multiplayer games, and even when the internet became a thing, I never really got into like online gaming.
Oh, okay. Kind of
So
like the battle royales and stuff that everybody got into.
I really don't like battle royales. I don't like MOBAs. I played League of Legends when it first came out. Like, I mean, first came out, those early days where you had like 12 characters to pick from, and Summoner's Rift was the only map you could play on before it became a toxic nightmare, and now it just is a toxic nightmare. But
I don't think there's any going back. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
So if you had any dreams of
no,
going back, it's not.
No, I gave up on MOBAs when I stopped playing Heroes of the Storm, the Blizzard proprietary MOBA that they had out for a little while. Yeah, no, I'm not a fan.
I tried battle royales once with friends. It was H1Z1. The beta version of H1Z1. So the free version before they even... Oh my goodness. There were so many bugs in that game. It was ridiculous. Everything was so rudimentary. It was crazy. And I could not drive. That was the game that I realized I never put me behind the wheel of anything in any game because, I might be able to drive in real life, but that is not the same as being able to drive in a game.
Fair.
Honestly, the only times I ever played, what is that one game with all the cars that
Forza?
I definitely can't play any cars where it's just straight driving. Not happening. But the other one with it's bad, bad for kids, rated R. I can't remember.
Like Grand Theft Auto?
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
I don't know why I couldn't think of the name, but it just
I remember
wasn't.
when Grand Theft Auto was a top-down.
The only thing I can do in Grand Theft Auto is steal a plane and crash it in the
Weeb!
right place.
I might be old, but at least I don't fawn over cartoon Japanese women.
That's a lie.
It's okay. I fawn over Japanese women too. It's fine.
I mean, Japanese women, sure.
No, Japanese cartoon women.
Specifically the
Okay.
cheesy ones.
When it comes to like J-pop and K-pop, I prefer the guys to the girls because they can all do the same dance move at one time. And it's insane.
If you have hand-eye coordination, she's into it.
But American guys don't dance like that. They don't dance at all. They go out there and they're like da da da, and they'll hold their beer.
The extent of my dancing is the South Park goth kids. And if you don't know what that is, just Google South Park goth kids dance, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Go educate yourself. Sorry.
The
That took an
ADHD
incredible-
is strong with this one.
That took an incredible turn.
Oh man.
Oh, I was gonna ask him who he was gonna use as a commander for Final Fantasy.
I don't know.
Magic deck,
Oh,
but-
I know exactly the answer to that question. Ishtola. Because, again, we.
Are you talking shit about 14, huh?
Because 14 is a cop-out answer and you know it.
14's a great game. Itself is the best Final
Look.
Fantasy villain. Fight me.
Anybody in the chat, drop an ooh in the chat for me, please, if you're here. No, I'm sorry, it was relevant to the conversation.
Look, I'm poking fun at Tyler. We're friends. I poke fun at him all the time for stuff like that. I am not trying to be insulting to anybody who's into that kind of stuff. Trust me.
He abuses me.
I abuse him on a regular basis. He is my counter monkey. Anyway,
It's okay, he can always get me back later.
that's
Like, I can
true.
get
You
away
have to
from
work
it,
with him,
yeah.
so I just get to come in and harass him all the time.
You're like, I'm not paid to be here, so I can say whatever I
I'm
want
really
to.
not, but that's okay. I like the store enough. I like deep dive games in St. Mary's, Georgia enough that I will spend my afternoons on Mondays coming in and chatting, and not for any other reason at all, because I love the store. Anyway, oh no, I wanted to say something earlier, but I got sidetracked.
What happened to Braden being on this episode? We announced that he was going to be on this
Yeah,
episode.
I know,
to,
right? He was supposed
talk
to be
about
here.
Updates and stuff like that.
Right, we were gonna do like a little segment and all that, but he had better things to do, like not be here.
Here.
No, we'll probably get him on. We'll probably get him on one of these days.
Next weekend.
At the very least, if we can plan it ahead, because I know he went to Rockville this last week, so he was gone the whole week. Like, I mean, the whole week. I'm surprised this place is still standing.
Hey, I feel like Tyler and I did a decent job.
Oh,
Kind
you
of.
did, definitely.
Except everything broke when I was here.
The look he just gave me.
The
I
store
mean,
didn't
Tyler.
burn down,
Yeah,
so we're
Tyler
good.
can handle himself. Like that's no big deal.
I think Tyler did a great job cleaning last night. Supposedly.
Supposedly.
I hope he did because Braden came back this morning, so I hope so.
Huh?
He was here
I
at
mean,
like 8 a.m.
yeah,
this morning.
no,
so.
fair, because Braden's shall we say, attention to detail is so hyperactive. I have literally watched this man walk into a room and just look over by the door and immediately see that one little like speck of dirt or schmutz or something that's on the floor by the door. It's like, why didn't nobody vacuum last night? I see the schmutz.
I try my best, okay?
See, I can say these things because I'm not technically employed here anymore, so.
Braden will watch it later and like.
Oh no, he's totally gonna watch it later and like make fun of me in the chat or something. Hey, I at least vacuumed when I worked here, on the occasion.
I vacuumed last night.
Good for you. We're so proud of you. We're so proud of you.
So like Saturday we had 2 tournaments for One Piece and Star Wars.
Yeah.
Just our little store
Oh my
tournaments. But
god,
how
it
did
was
those
so
turn out?
it was so packed here.
It was. We had like 2 D&D groups running.
Yep.
Somebody playing a board game, or a group playing a board game, that had been playing Lorcana earlier
We
that
had
day.
11 people at Store Showdown for Star Wars, so that was cool. A couple of guys that were from out of town. I think one guy said he came all the way down from Savannah
Yeah.
And played. And then there was a father son combo that I guess live in the area somewhere.
Yeah, they came in. I remember that because I
think they
checked
were
them
friends
out.
with a guy that was in Savannah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was pretty good. Like we had a good turnout for it. We had enough people to run. We did 3 rounds. One of our local guys took first. And no, it was good. I think everybody enjoyed it.
What deck was he playing?
The guy that won,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was playing Quinlan Tarkentown. So he was playing the meta deck. But I mean, he put his own spin on it, right? Like he's not doing like the 1-for-1. Oh, this deck won some regional qualifier or something. No, he put his own spin on it, his own feel for it, which is fine. He did well, and he also went to, he went to the PQ down in Alamonte. I think it's Alamonte. I'm butchering this name, and people from there can rake me over the coals for all I care. Alamonte Springs, Florida. There's a store down there called the Collective that we went to, and he was playing the same Quinlan Tarkentown deck.
Where did he end up placing in that then?
He got 19th out of like 65 players in the PQ.
Was he the team member that did the best?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, he did the best. I got 27th. LeBrandon got 28th, and our friend Jones got 29th. So the 3 of us were just boom, boom, boom.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good turnout. Like I actually played all the way through because like the last 2 big tournaments that I went to, I recognized that I was not doing well, and I was just like, man, I'd rather just go do some side stuff instead of like slogging it through the rest of these games, knowing that my score is not going to improve. The first PQ I went to, I took an Obi-Wan Kenobi deck, and I was building it for anti-meta, and then I didn't play any meta decks the entire time I was there. I played 1 meta deck, and I ended up beating that 1 meta deck, and then everybody else was playing like off-meta decks, and it just completely steamrolled me. Because I wasn't prepared for it. I was prepared to play against the meta. And then when we went to Seattle, which was the big, like, $10,000 prize pool tournament in Atlanta, I ended up bringing... I had a Piet Blue deck, which is all about playing big capital ships, big destructive ships, just dropping them down and just dominating in space. And every one of my matchups I did not prepare for. I prepared for playing against Django. I prepared for playing against Quinlan. I prepared to play against, some of the other more meta aligned decks. I even prepared to play against Sabine a couple of times, and I had it down to where I could beat Sabine a good 55-60% of the time. So I figured it'd be more evenly matched, and it was a complete blowout. And I only ended up playing 2 meta decks, and they were the 2 decks that I actually won against. Everybody else, I ended up in a mirror match against somebody else playing the Piet Blue deck, and the person playing that deck was not a very, shall we say, sportsman kind of player, and it really threw my whole vibe off for the rest of the game. And if anybody out there understands how ADHD people are with vibes and how things feel, it was the vibes went off and soured really, really quickly, and I did not want to keep playing. Like it threw off my whole rest of the day. So I was just like, bump it. I'm just gonna play a couple of side events. So I ended up playing like 1 or 2 side events. Went and got some food. Kind of just hung out, cheered the rest of my teammates on, but I was kind of done for the day. But this last PQ, I brought the set 1 Luke, and I was playing Luke Data Vault, which is a super popular base right now. And it's all about playing down Sentinels, which are units that you have to attack It's like Taunt in Hearthstone. It's basically a bunch of sentinels, and you put shields on them, which prevent all damage.
So kind of like the Kira deck that I play with.
So I've always maintained that like Kira is like the villainous version of Luke because it's all about putting shields on them, throwing down sentinels, throwing down units with grit that can take some damage and then swing in for more. She has the advantage of board wipes. Luke doesn't.
I love that though.
Luke doesn't. Like I could play Nebula Ignition, which is a 9-drop board wipe that kills anything that's not upgraded, which is great for my deck because, like I said, I put shields down, and shields are technically upgrades. So if I have 9 resources and I've got 4 units out with shields on them, and you just got this whole board full of units, I can cool 9, boom, your whole board's gone. My guys are still there, and I can keep swinging in. But no, at the PQ, I said, you know what? I want to play a fun deck. I'm not even trying to win, or not the PQ, the Store Showdown. Sorry. At the Store Showdown, I just decided I was just gonna play for fun. I think most of us were, because like we've been grinding our team.
Yeah.
Shout out to her and her boyfriend because they're making the jerseys for us and they look preem.
What are you talking about? That's all me.
Hey, we're not worthy. Anyway.
They're going to look great. Hopefully we can actually like show them on the podcast when they do come in. They are actually currently being made.
Awesome.
And printed right now, sewn together. So we should hopefully have them. My provider has told me that we should have them by the end of the month before the next
Awesome. Yeah, because our next tournament is going to be on the 31st. So we're hoping to have it. We're hoping to have them by then.
Yeah. Supposed to have them in by then. Hopefully we'll have them in to show them on the show before you guys go, but if not, we can show them after when we tell them about how the tournament
I mean, if you can get them in whatever that Monday is, I think that's
it'll all depend on partially shipping.
Yeah.
You know,
I know how shipping goes.
I use DHL. Normally they're pretty good about it. Now for whatever reason it doesn't make it to my house. DHL normally does let me go to their facilities and get the package from them. So if worst comes to worst and I have to do something like that, so be it.
Where are they?
Jacksonville is the closest DHL center.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's really not that bad. I've been there a few times.
Sure.
Because all shipping, no matter who you ship through, there's gonna be issues. It seems like. But
the only one I haven't really had any major like issues with is honestly USPS. UPS, absolute garbage. I hate them. I hate getting anything from UPS. UPS and FedEx. FedEx, I've had problems with FedEx. Not as many as UPS, but I bought my Ring camera for my doorbell specifically because FedEx drivers would literally pull up to the house, look out, and then go and walk a sticker up to the door and then put the sticker on the door and walk away. And I'm like, I've literally, with my car in the driveway, have literally been sitting in my room with the window open, the curtains open, which faces the road. Watched them pull up like, oh, great, my package is here. Kept doing what I was doing, waiting for the door rail to ring, waiting for the door to be knocked on. And then I hear the truck pulling away. And I look out and I'm like, okay, I thought I had a sign for this thing. Go out, open the door. Sure as enough, there's a sticker just sitting on the thing. I'm literally looking out the window at the driver as they pull away, and I would have
been like waving them down, like, excuse me.
Believe me, I called the distribution center, and I started complaining. I complained to all heaven. I'm like, I was literally sitting here and I watched your driver pull away. Didn't even like bother knocking on the door. My car is parked in the driveway. I had my window open, the curtains pulled back. I made eye contact with your driver, and they put a sticker on my door and drove away. I was livid.
I would have been too. Although the last time I ordered stuff from Shein, I live there's a road and then another road. Instead of taking it to where I live on this road, they took it to the first house on this road. Not even on the right road. Like it took me forever to find that package from the picture. I literally walked around to everybody's house.
You had to walk around the whole neighborhood just comparing the picture?
Yeah, comparing, and then I had to knock on some random person's door and be like, hey, do you have my package? They happen to have it, but like, it was just insane. Also, like, I don't know, is USPS the post office?
Yeah, it's the United States Postal Service.
I love the people that work there and everything, but obviously making clothing and sports gear and stuff like that.
Right.
Have to ship things quite often. They've lost so many of my packages and merchandising, and that's just a complete loss to me.
Right.
Because then I have to remake those items, pay to have those items remade. I've got angry customers now that like probably needed those jerseys before an event.
Right. And now they're not getting them.
Yeah, now they're not having them in time, or I have to refund them completely. And then that's just a whole mess because I've already paid to have it made, already paid to have it shipped, and it's gone.
Yeah, and so now all your profits are gone, all your
and even
all
if
your
you like
materials and
get
whatnot.
the like insurance stuff, I swear they are not too keen on finding your stuff.
Yeah, I always try to get insurance on any kind of major thing that I purchased and have shipped, but like I said, I have never really had any major problems with USPS. The one time that I had any kind of issue with it, it was because the driver dropped the package off at my neighbor's door, which I was living in an apartment, so it was like right next door, because they're like, oh, right number, wrong building. So the neighbor was right there, and he's like, hey, I think I got your package. As I was like leaving one day, I'm like, oh, cool. I was wondering where this package went, because I got the photo that showed like the front of the building, and I'm like, yeah, that's the building. That's my apartment.
They didn't have a picture of like the door in the apartment.
That's
number?
what like they had the door, and they had the letter on the apartment, but they didn't have the apartment number because it's on the middle of the building, like up high. So they literally just took a picture. They literally just took a picture of my front porch, or the front porch, which all of the buildings are identical.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, this is this is my thing. Why am I not finding it? But yeah, no, it was just the next door.
All the time when I lived in apartment complexes, because everything looks the same. So like pizzas, everything would get delivered to the wrong houses.
Don't have to worry about that anymore soon enough.
Yay!
I'm closing on a house in June 2nd.
We are all extremely excited for him.
I am nerve wracked, honestly.
Moving is stressful, but like make sure you're taking the time to enjoy it and know that you have so much support.
Oh yeah, no. I've got so many people telling me they'll come over and help us move stuff, which is great.
I'll help you unpack. That's the hard part.
You know what? I appreciate that, because I hate unpacking. I literally have a box in my garage right now that's still packed from when I moved into the thing, because I just like, I don't need anything in there.
I mean, because if worst comes to worst, I can help unpack, and if you don't like something in a certain spot, you can just move it. But at least it's not in a box. It's already like
if anything, I really won't care. I really won't care.
You're like, I don't care what cabinet has the glasses and what cabinet has the plates.
As long as there's consistency. They're in the cabinet and there's consistency. No, the biggest kick in the teeth is how much I've had to fork out for this whole process. I did not realize how much money it was going to cost me to start the process of moving. Not even the $242,000 that I'm spending on the house through a loan, but the cost of getting the inspections, getting the appraisal done, the earnest money, getting the closing costs put together, finding insurance for the house, which I can't even get a quote from my insurance carrier right now for some reason. I think their system is down, or they just don't have enough information on the place. I'm honestly gonna start shopping around for other insurances, but it's like all of this.
Yeah, because when it comes to homeowners insurance, there's a lot of options.
There really are. I'm hoping that I can find the best deal through the insurance provider that I use for my cars, because I've been with them for so long, and bundling it together would just make it easy, because then it's just one bill every month.
Sometimes bundling though is more expensive than paying them all separately through cheaper companies.
Right. So. That's what my brother-in-law has been telling me, because when they bought their house back in 2015. They bought it for a song. It was $167,000 for theirs, but like his insurance, like they had Progressive, and then when they got the homeowners insurance, they realized that if they went with another company, it would be cheaper for them. And when they switched over that, they also switched over their car insurance over to the same insurance carrier, and he's like, they saved $100 a month on just switching all that over. And he's like, and I have comprehensive and collision on the vehicle, because the vehicle that I'm driving right now is my new vehicle, and I have to have comprehensive and collision on it. I
mean, that's any vehicle that you have a loan on or anything.
Right. Well, that's why. Because when I paid off my last car, I almost immediately switched that thing over from comprehensive and collision to just liability, because going from $160 a month to $90 a month was a pretty nice, saving. And then, of course, like my driving record is fairly clean, so it dropped it from like the $90 a month for both for my main vehicle and the renter's insurance, down to like $30 a month. So I dropped it down to like 30. I think it's like $36 a month when I paid everything off. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm probably going to end up dropping insurance on that car anyway because I'm looking to sell it. So if I can get out from under it, I'm good on that one. That's a lot of stuff about me though. But yeah.
Well, you're going through a lot of great changes right now.
There are a lot of big changes. Not working here full time part time anymore, and a lot of stuff going on at work, and then the whole process of changing my daughter's schools and getting all of our addresses. She's going to be going to St. Mary's Elementary for the last year.
That's where Sarah goes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. We're literally going to be like 5 minutes away from each other. I'm moving down on Palmetto, just right down the street from where you are. But yeah, she's going to be going to St. Mary's Elementary, and then we figure it's probably best for her to do that because living where we're going to be living, she's going to be zoned for St. Mary's Middle.
Yeah. So she can go ahead and get to know all the kids.
Get to know some of the kids in her class before moving, and then when she transitions over to middle school, then maybe she won't be as alone. She'll know some of the kids in her class. She'll have a whole year with them.
Yeah.
But
just changing schools in middle school, it's already such a big change going from elementary school to middle school. Changing school districts would make it very difficult.
My nephew's 13. He just went through it.
Does she have any games here that she likes to play that the store sells?
Well, she picks up Pokemon cards, but not really because she likes to play the game. She just likes Pokemon.
Likes to collect them. Because there's a lot of people that just collect Pokemon cards.
Sure.
They don't even.
She's expressed wanting to learn how to play some of the games. It's just the age that she's at right now and the attention span that she has is really low. So
I mean, but the Poke kids are most of them are probably younger than her. I mean,
no, a lot of them are.
Age,
the problem is that because of visitation scheduling, she doesn't really have the opportunity to come up here on Sundays. She goes and visits her mom every other weekend, and then on the opposite weekends that I have her, I run D&D at the house on Sundays. So I don't have time to bring her up here because while the Poke Club is going on, I'm running D&D at the house.
Yeah.
And we've been doing that for like 3 years now. So it's, while I'm sure that my group would understand if I wanted to switch the days or something, I've already committed to doing it, and I'm the kind of person that I try to follow through with my commitments.
Yeah, once you give your word,
right,
you want to keep your word.
I do everything that I can to keep my word.
You ever start a new D&D campaign? Let me know.
I'm considering dropping the Saturday game because right now we are playing Cyberpunk, but honestly, it's been kind of a struggle to get people together because half the group is military. So whenever they're deployed or whenever they get stuck on duty and then trying to get them together.
Are going to be different days on top of that. Right. Deployments are going to be different depending on what boat they're on and
I've been kind of toying with the process, the idea of maybe doing the another D&D show for the store.
That would be fun.
I just don't know if it's actually going to take off because I've kind of hit an impasse. I have an idea for the campaign. I got somewhat of a group put together. We've had all of one kind of real get together to sit down and kind of play, and then I've been told I need to diversify the cast a little bit, and now finding new players is kind of hard. Finding people that can commit to it has just been kind of hard. So I'm going to probably talk to Braden, and Braden's going to see this, so he'll know ahead of time before I actually have a chance to talk to him about it. I might back off a little bit on that one just until I can get better planning in for it. Because honestly, our D&D show is doing great.
Yeah,
it really has, and I don't think we need to
I just
flood the
D&D,
market.
So
I mean,
you let me know if you need some diversity because
I probably will hit you up on that. I probably will.
I would be so down. I miss it so much. It's like the one thing since I started working here that I haven't really been able to get back into because it does take a group and it does take.
We got like 15 minutes or so before we're done the show. What kind of history do you have with D&D? I know we've already talked a little bit about your history with D&D, but like I'm asking more along like what version of D&D did you start playing? What's your favorite version of D&D? Just a little bit more like favorite class, things like that.
I never got through a complete campaign. It was only like the first 3 times for each group because having a group stay together, especially back during that era of my life, was kind of difficult.
I can tell you right now, it's not easy to get a group together. It really isn't.
That meets regularly and actually can like consistently do that. Very difficult.
Like I said, I thank God for the group of people that I have that play with me on Sundays. At least 3 of them have been super consistent. One of them lives with me, so he has no choice in the matter. But for the most part, the three of them have been really, really like super.
It's like
consistent.
You know where he's gonna be.
Oh yeah, no, I know
like
exactly where he's at. I just
buddy,
kick his door
exactly
in. I kick his door in and just shout at him. It's time for D&D, bitch. Get up.
And it's like if he misses it, you know where he lives, so it's not like he's gonna be able to get away from you. Basically, like I don't really know what type as far as like I wasn't the DM. I just kind of like went with whatever was going on and like tried to learn as much as I could each time I was there.
Well, like what do you enjoy playing?
Like water genasies. Like I think I had a water genasi druid character that I was absolutely in love with.
She like druids, like spellcasters.
Yeah. So,
you know, a lot of people are intimidated by spellcasters when they first start out. Like I'm like it's not really much different than playing a fighter, like or playing a martial class. It's just different. Like you don't have to remember as much as one of the martial classes, because like spells and whatnot, you have to remember what the spells do or what their saves are. But if you break it down to just the basics, like okay, is it an attack spell? If it is, okay, I'm using this number. Is it a save spell? Okay, this is my number. Like. And for the most part, they're very like clear, like how they go. Like heavily damaging spells that are like area of effects tend to be dexterity saves. You know, cold spells, poison spells, things like that are con saves. Mental spells, things that attack the mind, well, they're usually either intelligence, wisdom, or charisma, like one of those 3. So it's for somebody getting into the game, don't be afraid of spellcasting. The biggest hurdle you're going to have to get across is understanding the difference between prepared casters and memorized casters. If you're a memorized caster, it's super easy. You have a list of spells, and those are the only spells that you know. If you're prepared, hey, every morning you just get to pick from a list of spells how many spells you want to have. So, I don't know. Anyway, I'm taking control of this conversation. I'm trying to get more information from you. So you like the druid?
I'm not really like a type to run in and fight in any situation. You know, so it just seemed I tend to choose characters where I am not the person that's going to be like brute strength.
Right. So no barbarians, no fighters, no paladins.
I've never played one. I would be up to it, but like I've never actually played one.
You know, honestly,
and I like to come up with really interesting, like, that's part of the reason why I like the Water Genasi. Really interesting characters that aren't normally, like, played and have really interesting abilities. So.
Right. I think, what is it, the most uncommon class and race combination was, like, I think it was, like, a Genasi or an Asimir druid. It was, like, the rarest class and race combinations because people just didn't want to play them. But, like, the most common is human fighter, which is so generic.
I mean, they can do a lot. So, like, I understand that, and, like, speed and everything I get. There are, like, some positives, I feel like, to playing a human, but it's just so much more fun to, like, make it a little more complicated for yourself, in my opinion. I like elves. I love, like, all types of elves. I've always wanted to play a gnome. I don't know why. Don't ask me why.
Because they're fun.
But a gnome would be fun.
Bandy legs, big nose. It's literally what
they move kind of. They move kind of slow, but they're just It'd be fun. It'd be interesting.
My buddy Mikey Mike, and if you stick around for any length of time, you'll eventually hear the stories about Mikey Mike and our D&D games.
Don't they have dark vision too?
Yeah, he would always call any gnome character that he encountered, regardless of who they were or what their class was or if they were important or anything. He would always, without a shadow of a doubt and without skipping a beat, call them Bandy Legs, Big Nose.
See, I'd be a gnome fighter just for the sheer meme of it, because it would be funny. You can't tell me it wouldn't be funny. Come up with the weirdest class to put with that race possible.
I mean, yeah, because honestly, most gnomes, because of their boost to intelligence, they tend to go spellcasters. Yeah. They tend to be wizards and whatnot.
So what happens if
just play a gnome paladin?
That would be so funny. That would be great. I would do it, just for the
vibes. I have to ask because I noticed your tattoo. Is that a Selkie?
Yes, it is a Selkie.
I thought so.
I actually
see. I'm hip. I'm with it. I'm brushed up on my Celtic folklore.
That's a Welsh myth.
Oh.
A lot of people get that misunderstood, but it is a Welsh myth.
The other half of my family.
You'll hear about it a lot in Ireland and Scotland too, as well.
Well, that's why I was saying it's a Celtic myth.
Yeah. The Selkies I felt were just really cool. Yeah, they can be kind of siren-y, but their main myth is that when they come on land, they can shed their seal skins and walks amongst men. And they hide their skins under rocks on the shore. And if a sailor finds it, they're bound to that sailor until they find their skin, and then they can return home. The situation I was in my life, I felt like I shedded some excess weight that I didn't need, and was able finally to find myself, find my skin, and return home. And it was right around the time that Zoda was born, which is why the hawk exists on the tattoo, because that just represents. It was a familiar companion. It's Zoda. It's Zoda's spirit animal. My Cherokee grandfather called me the morning he was born. It was Zoda's a little red-tailed hawk, because he had been looking after one. Animals are just kind of weird with him. He'll have a bunch of bees land on him and stuff outside. He'll go outside and talk to the bees and talk to the animals, and would talk to the squirrels, and they'd crawl up on him and stuff like that. Very interesting, Native American origins. Grew up being taught by a medicine. I think it was a woman actually, but medicine man.
This is your grandfather.
Yes, that's my grandfather.
Oh, you're talking about Zoda. I was like,
no.
That's cool.
No, Zoda. But after he told me that, I was like, okay, well then I'll just do a little Selkie with a red-tailed hawk.
I mean, very, very on brand, liking druids and whatnot.
Oh yeah, really. I like all of the water fae basically, because there's kelpies are a little creepy, a lot creepy. Kelpies are scary. Okay, if that's a real myth, I hope I never see one. But I also I have a mermaid tail and I do the mermaid stuff as well. Or maybe you didn't know that.
I'm still learning new things about you. First it was the fire dancing. Now it's mermaid tailing.
Yeah, I'm a professional mermaid, and I do I have several swimmable tails and do kids' birthday parties and teach kids how to swim and stuff like that. Nothing huge, because I can't afford the big $3,000 silicone tails. Especially on a mom budget, but I do like to make children believe
especially the budget working here.
Yes. But I do like making children smile and believe in magic. I just love it when you can teach a child to believe in magic to the point that they have the confidence to go learn how to swim, especially.
Right.
Because a lot of kids are very timid about it, and it's fun to be their magic, their little spark that they're if she can do it, I can do it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my daughter loves swimming. In fact, she's over at my parents' house right now swimming. So,
well, hopefully we'll be having a pool party, birthday party for Zoda. Maybe she can come join us.
Hey, maybe. We'll see. It depends on when it is, because visitation in summer and just it's a whole mess. But
well, we might be able to try to line it up. There's also I've got to work around work, so. Trying to make sure all the deep dive games kids can come.
Yeah, what, all three of them?
Sundays, there's a lot of kids here.
That's true. I mean, that's our Poke Club day.
Yeah. Well, and we try to. I see kids in here all the time, especially the days I'm working, because we do try to make the store as welcoming and kid friendly as absolutely
Oh
possible.
no, 100%, 100%. I
So,
think during
it's
the
definitely
May
a
the
family.
4th celebration, we did a whole like thing for the kids.
Oh yeah, no, that was so much fun to see them like running around playing with foam swords and
Watching
But-
them beat each other senseless.
they were pretending they were Jedi though, and that's like the fun of it all. Is like
Right.
be a kid.
I think, and
run
honestly, I
around.
think that's what appealed to me the most about D&D is just this idea, because being somewhat of an introvert and really only expressing yourself through like books and things like that, like the ability to allow your imagination to kind of run a little wild. Like when I'm coming up with stories, half the time my adventures, and this is a secret for anybody watching it who's played with me, I wing it like all the time. I don't plan things out. I plan certain like story beats, but
Yeah.
everything in between is just me
Winging it.
BSing my way through it and hoping and seeing just where it goes.
I mean, that's the
Um,
fun of it, though. I also feel like it's a great escape too for a lot of
Yeah.
people to just like be able to
Play pretends for
get
a
your
couple
mind
hours.
outside of your own life and all the stress that's going on in your regular
Right.
life.
I know we've talked about that before.
Plus-
where it's a very good escape.
Oh, I was the oldest of my siblings of three. So my
I
little
am an elder
sister,
child as well.
little sister was 5 years younger, and my little brother was 8 years younger. So when they were little kids, we didn't have technology really like that. I mean, we could watch SpongeBob on TV, but I absolutely despised that. Or like most of the shows that were going on during that period of time, I just wasn't that into. At least
That's
what they
fair.
were into, because my sister was obsessed with Max and Ruby, and I feel like if I,
I have
Like,
no
I-
idea what that is.
oh my god, you don't want to know.
No,
don't wanna
I
know.
really don't.
You really don't. Like it's
I
not a
grew up
bad
watching
show. It's
Thundercats.
just kind of dry, and after you watch it as a teenager so many times, you're like, please no more. But they would send us outside all the time and be like, just go play outside in the woods and the
Right.
trees and the field.
I mean-
and I would come up with these like make believe storylines and making it up just the whole time, and I'd be like, okay, well, and I'd play like 3 different roles. Like I'm the fairy, I'm also like the villain, and like my little brother would be a knight, and my sister would be like a
See,
fairy,
I think that just means that you'd be a good DM.
and maybe, but it was like my whole childhood. We had these storylines that I would come up with, and we'd have stick swords and like.
Well, of course, because you
They're-
gotta find. I mean, when you got a good stick, when you find a good stick, it can be anything and everything.
Well, I grew up in the woods too, so there were pine trees everywhere. Find a good switch.
No, when I remember growing up and we didn't, when cable kind of became a thing, we did not have cable. We did not have anything but the local channels, and 9 times out of 10, my mother was kicking us out of the house anyway because she had to work. Right, my dad's
Yeah.
deployed overseas. She had to work. Me and my little sister we had to go outside and do things. And I remember growing up. I mean, we were such wild children growing up that they literally had commercials on TV asking parents to remember that they had offspring at some point. Like, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? No, they didn't. Like, rarely. The street lights came on. We headed home. That was about it. We could be
I
like
always
2
came
towns
home.
over, just wandering through the woods somewhere.
I mean, I've always been able to find my way back in the woods, so we were always home before it got dark. Plus,
we
my
were
mom
feral
was
children.
terrifying. We were as feral as we could be, under, like, dictator rule.
Yeah.
Like,
I honestly feel like
Under a
the
dictatorship.
advancement of technology and when home computers and the internet kind of really took off, and then it was like home gaming consoles were really became really popular and all that. That's kind of when like going outside, especially for somebody like me, slowly kind of decreased over time, because like when you're in a military family and you move around a lot, you don't make a lot of strong bonds with other people, because eventually every 3 years you're going to move. Or in my case, like we moved in Washington like 4 different times. So like over the span that we were living in Washington state, like we moved from the western side of the peninsula, or the Puget, to the eastern side of Puget, to 3 different spots over on that side. So it was like, for us, going outside wasn't as appealing because we really didn't have anybody to go outside and play with. So I turned to books. My sister, being younger than me, she kind of came up when tech was more prevalent, and she was a girly girl. Like she liked dolls and things like that. So we would stay inside and either watch TV, or she would like talk to her friends on the phone, because that was a big thing, like the house phone. She'd use up all the house phone minutes and whatnot, talking to her friends,
Back
listening
when
to
house
music.
phones had minutes.
Yeah, yeah. For those of you who don't understand the advancement of technology, we had minutes that you got charged every time you used the phone, unless it was nights and weekends. So after 9 and on the weekends, they were free.
I tried not to use my house phone too much because there were like multiple house phones, and if you like answered one and somebody else picked up the other,
They could hear your whole
yeah.
conversation.
So it was like my parents were always
Oh yeah, always
on my
listening in. You just
conversation,
pick up
so
the
it's
phone,
like-
put your hand over the microphone, and just kind of listen into what they were talking about.
Actually, my mom, I, and my grandmother all have very similar toned voices. So they've actually had whole conversations with my friends thinking that it's me. And I'm like, how would you, like, don't talk to one of my friends for an hour and not tell them you're not talking to me.
Right. No, with me, it's me and my dad. Me and my dad have the same kind of tones to our voice, and then when you listen to them through electronic devices like microphones and speakers and whatnot, right now I probably sound just like my father, but it happens all the time on the phone. I'll pick up the phone while I'm at my parents' house or something like that, and my dad's friends will just think they're talking to me. We used to actually work together, so at work before he retired. If somebody called the shop and I just picked up the phone and started talking, they think that they were talking to my dad, who was, a few rungs above me on the ladder. So they were telling me stuff about different jobs going on, and I'm just like, cool, I have no idea what you're talking about.
At least you told them.
I mean, I waited for the whole, like, half the conversation to be over. I'm like, you realize you're talking to Nick and not Danny, right? And they're like, you sound just like your dad. Yes, I do. I know. Same thing happens when I'm like going to a drive-through or something like that. It's it's great. It's always ma'am, no, dude, beard. It's not ma'am, it's sir. I promise you.
I've been called sir so many times going through the drive-thru.
We have that like smoky, sultry voice. Me, I just have bitch. And that's my one for the show.
Yeah, I have a very raspy voice, and it's rather deep. It just is what it is. It reminds me of, I don't know if you ever watched like the Proud Family TV series.
My sister watched it some, my kids watched it more.
There's this one episode where like Penny Proud goes through puberty and her voice like drops and is like just ridiculously deep. And she's like, Mom, what's going on? She's like, it's just puberty. And I'm like, I felt that so hard.
Like I said, you have that like that sultry what is the name of that actress? I can't think of it. But she was the mom on Drop Dead Fred.
Not good at actresses' names.
I can't think what her name is. Tyler! Look it up.
What up?
The actress that played the mother on the movie Drop Dead Fred. Jamie, pull it up.
Throw my phone at you. You said Drop Dead Fred.
The movie Drop Dead Fred.
Isn't his nickname like Turquoise?
Oh yeah, Turquoise. Turquoise Tyler.
Turquoise Tyler?
Stop. You played the mother. Do you remember her name?
I don't remember the actress's name. Phoebe? Phoebe
Phoebe?
Katz? That sounds about right. Plays what? No. That was the daughter. Elizabeth is the daughter.
Marsha Mason.
Marsha Mason. There you
Okay.
go.
I
If
guess-
you look up Marsha Mason, she was popular like in the early 90s and 80s movies.
Carrie Fisher was in that movie.
Yeah.
I've never seen this movie. I didn't know this was a movie.
Yes.
How old are
And
you,
it's actually a
Tyler?
good movie. You should watch it. You should see it. It's actually a good movie.
I'll get around to it.
Highlights psychosis very well.
Right up my alley.
Basically, for any of you, a quick synopsis is young girl's parents go through a divorce. She's traumatized by the event, so she creates an imaginary friend called Drop Dead Fred. the night that her father leaves, her mother traps Fred inside of a what are those little the
Monkey Jack in the
the
Box.
Jack in the Box, yeah. So she traps him inside of a Jack in the Box for like 20 years. When she's an adult, she's leaving her husband because she finds out her husband is cheating on her, and she moves back into her mom's house, and then all of the trauma from when she was a kid like starts happening again. She ends up finding the Jack in the Box and unleashing Fred from the Jack in the Box, and then it's just all of these chaotic hijinks that just happen. And like, of course, like her mom thinks it's her, but you as the viewer are supposed to believe that it's Fred doing everything. But like I said, it's a very big like delve into like how trauma response goes on. Like as an adult watching the movie, it's very like heavy trauma response. And then like there's a bunch of different like shenanigans that happens, and then eventually at the end of the movie, she ends up getting with like a high school sweetheart or something like that. Like he's a character. He's a character in the movie that she interacts with that's actually nice to her. And then at the end of the movie, his daughter has an imaginary friend who does a lot of the crazy things that she did when she was a kid. And at the end of the movie, she's holding up her hand doing like the pinky promise, because that's what her and Fred used to do when she was a kid. When Elizabeth was a kid, her and Fred would have the pinky promise. And then so at the end of the movie, it ends with the little girl laughing at the latest of the string of nannies that were, you know, trying to take care of her, and after they pulled a prank on her. So, but yeah, no, I basically told you the whole movie. Anyway, it's a good movie. Go look it up. It's like the 90s. It's quintessential 90s with shoulder pads and everything.
Good. It sounds familiar, though. I may be something I go to watch, and I'm like, oh, I've watched.
But yeah, what was the name again?
Something
Mason.
Marsha
Mason.
Marsha.
Yes, Marsha Mason.
What a name.
She's a very like, she was in a lot of movies, but when you see her, you're gonna be like, oh, it's that lady.
Yeah, no, it sounds familiar too. So it's.
But
like,
she definitely has like that
bunch
lower
of connections.
register, very sultry voice. When she was younger, it was very sultriness. Anyway, enough of me complimenting. That's about all the time we have for this week.
Yeah.
We just kind of rambled on for a while there. So
We
thanks
did
for
go
joining
through
us.
Quite a few of the Final Fantasy spoilers.
We did. Again, not really super interested in Magic right now. Like, I love Final Fantasy, and that's about the only reason why I'm even consider talking about it.
I'm just getting back into it for Avatar.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'm very worried. I'm very worried about what they're gonna do to it.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Oh, aren't they doing a SpongeBob one too?
They did the SpongeBob Secret Lair.
Okay.
And
you know what?
It just.
Somebody showed me some of the artwork, and I was like, "This is great," but I don't see how well it would be like playable wise. I think it's just more so. Really
it's
cool
all proxy cards basically. Yeah. They're all just like Magic cards with like a SpongeBob cover.
Yeah, but I mean, the artwork's cool. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If you're like a SpongeBob fan, like the artwork's cool.
Well, that's it for us this week, guys. Thanks for joining us. I know we had a little bit of technical difficulties there in the middle, but we appreciate you guys sticking with us. This is Beneath the Surface. I'm Nick the Red. With me from now on is going to be Space Bunny. See you guys later.
See you next week.